The game was changed last night for megastar interviews, 8:05 on a Thursday. Glad you're here on KCMO Talk Radio. So if you missed it, Taylor Swift sat down with the Kelce bros. Of course, she happens to be dating one of them. That always helps when you're trying to land a big interview. But you think about the fact that Taylor Swift doesn't do these really ever. She's never done a podcast before. She said as much when she joined the New Heights podcast last night. You never see her on television. She's never doing anything in depth. And she sat down with Travis and Jason for what? Was it a 2-hour interview? I didn't finish it.
No, I haven't either.
I'm 45 minutes in. Mark, did you finish?
Oh yeah, it was an hour, 45 minutes on YouTube, and then YouTube broke down, so I watched the last 15, 16 minutes, listen to it on iTunes.
So how'd you wrap this up? Because you were going to go drop off your oldest at youth group last night and sit in the parking lot, but it was 2 hours long. So what'd you do?
It's a 2-hour youth group, so
it's
actually panned out.
Oh,
yeah.
It's a 2-hour youth group. I thought it was an hour.
6:30 to 8:30, so it worked out perfectly.
You must have looked like a total creep sitting there in the parking lot.
I actually took the littlest one to McDonald's. So she played around in the play area while I listened to the podcast.
Oh, boy. Mark, she's going to get sick doing that, man. Come on.
She's fine.
She's fine. So she was playing in the play area while you're listening to Taylor Swift on the New Heights podcast.
Well, I was monitoring her. I was right next to where she was playing.
Right.
So
Dad of the year. Dad of the year.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
All right. So 2 hours last night on the New Heights podcast. Think about this. A generation ago, if Taylor Swift wanted to talk to the world, she would go on the Today Show. She'd go on Oprah, some nightly news program, and they'd carefully craft a little 7, 8, 9-minute interview that they would perfectly package into their show. Taylor sat there last night and just shot the you-know-what with Travis and Jason. And by the way, it was really good for her. We had never really seen her in a setting like that, where she's just basically having a conversation and chopping it up. And I'm watching her, and I'm listening to this, and Kate and I are watching it together last night. And I literally couldn't stop. I'm fascinated by the fact that, first off, she was really well-spoken. There was no, ums and likes every other word, and, where do I go from here, and what do I say, and kind of ditziness. There was none of that. Now, I always figured she was very bright. You don't have that kind of success and not be very sharp and very smart. She is. But I had never really seen it on display. And you saw it last night in this interview. By the way, she's the smartest one of the three by a mile. It's not even close.
Well, to your point, there are some that are smart who play it off, though, just for a sort of a character thing anyway. And so there was none of that.
Yeah, there's none of that. She's smart. She was self-deprecating. I mean, there were multiple times when Travis was like, oh, yeah, song of the year, best artist ever. And she's like, you're my boyfriend. That's what you're supposed to say. There were moments like that where you can't fake it. You can't sit there and watch somebody for 2 hours in a conversation and have them fake it the entire time. It's impossible. You can fake a 7-minute interview. You can't fake a 2-hour sit down. At some point, the real you is going to show up.
Yeah, in that 7 minutes, 3 of us. How you doing? You look good. Great.
Yeah,
remember last time I saw you? We were at, what's his name's down?
It's all fluff.
Right?
There was none of that. She was comfortable. She was relaxed. She was insightful, smart, funny. She put it all together. And the biggest losers last night were the shows like The Today Show, like the daytime talk shows.
That's what I was thinking. You got it.
They're done. No one is going to go to these places for their conversation with the world. They're just not. They don't need to anymore. Now, this is obviously a unique situation where, her boyfriend has this major podcast with his brother. They're all comfortable with each other. They go on there. They get tens of millions of views in the first 12 hours. So it's definitely unique. But you're seeing this breakdown more and more where these big-time media conglomerates don't have the ability to play gatekeeper like they used to.
Mm-hmm.
And last night may have been the death knell for them.
It is. I was thinking that because she was on long form and you got the fresh take, the original take. You know, these are pretty much the first time she's addressed about getting her music catalog back and a whole bunch of stuff about being a football fan, about meeting Travis, all that stuff. So when you want the definitive answer, this will be the thing to go to. Nothing else that comes after is
worth
pales
anything
in comparison.
Yeah. What could you possibly ask her after what she shared last night? And, I mean, she told the story about getting her music back, and she was emotional about it. And then, of course, there's a funny Travis story at the end as well.
I get a call from my mom, and she's like, you got your music. Yeah. And so sorry that it's literally been so long since this happened. It's every time I talk about it. She was like, you got your music. And I just very dramatically hit the floor for real. Like, honestly, just started
been a long time coming.
Bawling my eyes out. And I'm just like, just weeping and kind of like unable. I was just like, really? Really? What do you mean? What do you mean? And I'm like, get yourself together, get your together. Like, just go tell Travis in a normal way.
Yeah.
And I knock on the door. He's playing video games. And I'm trying to say it in a normal way. And I'm just like, Travis!
I'm like, oh no. What just happened?
And he puts his headset down. He's like, guys, gotta go. And I think he thought something was wrong. And you come up and I'm just like, I got all my music back. And then just start absolutely heaving.
Just dead
crying.
weight. Just dead weight. Lose
Dropped,
all control.
Had no power in my legs to support myself. And yeah, this changed my life. I can't believe it still.
The visual of Travis with a headset on playing video games with his boys after his billionaire girlfriend shows up to tell him that she just basically got her own music catalog back is hysterical. What do we think he's playing? Like a first-person shooter game? Or he's got to be playing something.
Call of Duty, probably.
Call of Duty. Gotta go, boys! Oh, girlfriend needs me.
Travis, away from keyboard.
It's like, man, he's just he's lovable, but he's just a big old kid. He's a big old meathead kid is what he is. And God bless him. I mean, he's great for Kansas City, but that's what he is. All right? But she prefaces that story by noting that basically her music was owned by a private equity firm. Like, she not took him down, but she was able to get her music back after it had been sold from place to place to place and was owned by a private equity firm in Los Angeles. And she got it back. And she's like, why should somebody else's grandkids basically have their inheritance be part of my music? And, I mean, it's an incredibly fair and good angle to bring up when you're talking about why this specific thing was so important to her. Wait, somebody else's kids are going to have an inheritance that's partially off of Taylor Swift's music? And she's like, that should be my kids, my grandkids. It's like, oh, I can relate. I can understand that. That's an excellent point. And every step of the way, every time I was not waiting for her to stumble, but wondering if a stumble was going to happen, I was like, nope, not there, not there, not there. Boy, this is just not happening.
Well, we had to beep it, right? There was the S-bomb in there, which I liked as part of her genuine conversation, and she didn't do the, oh, I shouldn't say that. Can we edit that out?
Nope.
No, she just, that's kind of part of her vocabulary. It was the exact word she wanted to choose.
Just let it rip. It was fun. It was easy to listen to, and it was wildly likable. And I had no idea what to expect. I was like, I'm going to turn this thing on because I probably should last night. And then I'm like, I can't stop watching it. I can't. Talking about becoming a football fan. I mean, that was just great stuff. She's the one who told Travis that they drafted Xavier Worthy. He had no idea who his new teammate was going to be. She's like, hey.
He's like, what? I got to call Andy.
It's like, what are we doing here? She literally had no idea about how football was played until she started dating this guy, and now she's in love with the sport. How many guys are jealous about that right now? How many guys have been trying to get their girlfriends or wives to fall in love with football for years and they can't do it? And Taylor Swift just bought in 100% hook, line, and sinker. I didn't have any expectations. I didn't want to like her more. Like, I didn't really care. I was just like, I'm going to watch this.
Good point.
And then I'm like, wait, I'm liking her more. 10 more minutes go by. I like her more. I mean, her politics are what they are, but I don't think any of us should be judged as individuals by our politics. Now, if you're in the political arena, that's different. All right? If you're Joe Biden, if you're Donald Trump, like you've chosen that path. But we can't all be perfect. And I do think the more I hear from her, she's one of those people who's got caught up in the Hollywood scene and what it means to be in show business and things like that. But boy, she has a lot of very traditional values that I think she's going to come to a fairly obvious conclusion on as she continues to mature in her relationship and her adulthood.
Yeah, the politics don't define her. There weren't little nuances woven in and out of comments through the whole thing either. It's
No.
just, she's like the rest of us. It's just something you do when you vote. It's not how you live your life. Like, got to wear the flag and the colors and have the badge and all that stuff.
There was none of that seeped through last night from what I saw either. So, fascinating conversation. And, boy, the Today Show and some of these big programs, they are just Good Morning America. They're toast. They're done. The fact that Taylor Swift is just talking to millions of people without any major media outlet behind her as a part of this conversation is a fascinating example of how the media is changing very rapidly. And I actually think that this can be good for like radio because we can do more long form stuff. We're doing more video and we're the place where people can actually have these kind of long form conversations, just like podcasts. You can't do it on network TV anymore. It's still too regimented. It's still too structured. People like Pat McAfee are starting to buck that trend on ESPN. That's basically what his show is, just a long-form conversation. It's more of a radio show on TV than it is a TV show. That model can and will continue to work because it's what people want. They just want easy to listen to, real, genuine conversation about whatever's going on with whatever the topic and the individual is. And you got that last night. And it was a huge, huge success. I'm going to play a clip for you, and you tell me if this sounds like somebody who is more traditional in nature or super woke and way out there. And you just tell me, based on what this person has to say about their interests, where you think their political leanings might be.
It's been so fun to see what Taylor actually gets into around the house.
It's like, I'd say all my hobbies could be categorized as like hobbies you could have had in the 1700s. You know, like I get on my granny.
You enjoy doing all of these homey things. That's basically what you're saying?
Yeah, I like to sew.
Yep.
I specialize, as you know, in children's purses and baby blankets. I make two things, and that's
I know that very well.
Very good at these two things.
I love to paint. I love to cook. I have a different baking obsession every 6 months.
I am the luckiest man in the world.
Right now, we're very deep in a sourdough obsession that has taken over my life.
I am aware.
Yeah.
And I'm very deep in it now.
The sourdough is taking off, by the way. Kate's been on the sourdough kick for months now as well. I don't know if it's like a thing, but she is all in on sourdough, Mark.
Kate and Taylor could be on the same blog.
They might be.
Look
She
at
was talking about
stuff.
going on the sourdough blogs.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Who knows? But the sourdough is definitely in. So you hear Taylor Swift, who's a billionaire. I might be rounding up a hair, but you get the point. And she's like, I've got interests that are mostly stuck in the 1700s. Sewing, painting, cooking, and baking. In a world where, you know, we're told girl power is all about not having kids and working for some Fortune 500 company and putting off family and just focused entirely on some job for some nameless, faceless corporation. Taylor Swift is like, no, I am enjoying not working because I'm doing these things that I really like to do. Not scrolling through social media. She's like, I haven't opened up my DMs. There's probably 20 million of those I have to go through. And Jason's like, I'll do it. I'll go through your DMs. That would be a full show in and of itself. I don't think Taylor Swift, when it comes to her values, and I don't mean this in a derogatory way, because I think a lot of people go through this. I don't think they realize that their politics don't actually match what their values are. if you had played that interview for me without letting me know the political leanings of the people on the show, I would have said, I don't really know, because it wasn't hyper political last night on the New Heights podcast when Taylor Swift was on there with Travis and Jason Kelce. But I would have said she might, be right of center, maybe, just based on kind of what I hear and what she talked about, and, buying back her music from a private equity firm, kind of the beating the big guy in their own game, the importance of owning that, the things that she values, the fact that she does prepare for these tours, and it's not like an NFL season, but there was a conversation last night about how, preparing for this tour and going through the rigorous physical side of this tour is very similar to being in like week 15 of an NFL season. Your body's worn down, everything hurts, but you do it. You're a performer. But then also saying, you know what, right now, I'm not doing any of that stuff. I'm not working, and I like sewing and making blankets and making sourdough bread and painting. It's not all look at me on social media. It's not selfie land. I mean, she does some of that because you have to when you work in that line of work. But that's not what she's spending her time doing right now. And it was really unique and refreshing to hear that. And I thought it made her wildly likable and appealing to a lot of us who, may have been ingrained to really not be fans of her personally. But I'm like, I can't help but like her as I'm watching this thing last night, John.
I want to recall your attention to a conversation we had. So I don't remember exactly when it was, but the question was put to Travis about, Taylor cooks. What do you like? What's the best thing she does? And he said Pop-Tarts.
Yeah.
Remember? We're all like, what? And Mark and I were saying, you do them homemade, but you could see back then, right? Now she's into the baking thing. And so homemade Pop-Tarts was something. And then she talked about she gets into different things. So we moved from the Pop-Tarts clearly to the bread.
Yeah. And good for her. It's not fake. Nothing about it was phony. And that's the other thing, because when you're doing an hour and a half, 2 hour sit down, if you're phony, you're going to sniff it out. You can't be fake for that long in that kind of a setting. It's impossible to do. And I'm listening to this last night and watching this last night. Kate and I just popped it on. It was kind of a last-minute decision. It was late, and I stayed up later than I should watching this. But I'm like, what? And yesterday when I was filling in for Guy Benson, we had on Clay Travis. And we were talking about the New Heights podcast, and I jokingly said to him at the end of the conversation, I said, are you going to watch New Heights tonight? He's like, no, I've got a freshman football game to go to for one of my kids. And I said, yeah, that sounds pretty good. But he goes, I've never been one of those people who just hated Taylor Swift just because, right? It's like when you're a billionaire and you're still hustling and you're still grinding the way that she is, but you also have some of these other interests that she has talked about having and expanded on last night on the New Heights podcast. That's not what a lot of billionaires are going to do when they've got that kind of dough at 30-some-odd years old.
Face it, if Oprah was into sourdough bread, she'd just buy the bakery.
Yeah. So I was beyond impressed, and I had no expectations going in. But I watched it, and I said, you know what? I don't know if she's changing. I don't know if this is always who she's been, because we've never really seen this side of her publicly. She doesn't do a lot of this media stuff. But if this is who Taylor Swift is, and I believe it is, then she should be doing more of this, because she's only going to help herself with the haters that are out there. Now, I know the haters are not going to be her diehard fans buying her albums anyway. The Swifties love her. But, I mean, she will only find herself being more popular if she continues to do media of this kind.